pave a way. I wanna break the cycle of my mama and them. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that we don't talk about a lot within the African American community, which is mental health. We don't talk about it because we feel like, there's nothing wrong with us, or only rich people see therapists and, psychiatrists and things of that nature. But mental health is really important. Kind of wanted to, talk about it from my point of view, talk about some of the things that I've went through, some of the things that I've experienced, and just be honest, right? Because, we all on social media, all the pictures look good, you shoot the right angles, everything's always happy. Nobody never really tells what they're really going through, right? But I always feel like, God wouldn't put me through nothing that I couldn't handle, and I always use my trials and tribulations as testimonies, and hopefully that this would can help someone. I think my anxiety comes from my fear of failure. I think I try to control every aspect of my life because as a child I had no control. I couldn't control my mother's, her health. I couldn't control keeping, my brothers and sisters together. I couldn't control what people did to me. I couldn't control anything. And, I told myself that I didn't want to be a victim. So I never looked at myself like I was a victim. I always looked at myself as if, I'm the survivor. I refuse to let anybody make me feel inferior. I refuse to be defeated. I refuse that. Because as a child, I was a kid. So it's like a lot of times I put so much on myself just to, control me. So I suffer from anxiety. I think for me, one of the things that kind of gives me the most anxiety, I remember when my mom was dying in the hospital, she told me to take care of my siblings. So it's four of us. She says, I know that you can do it, to take care of your siblings. And I made a promise to her that, I would take care of my siblings and I would do my best to bring back meaning to our name. So I think, from a small child, I put the task on myself to carry the torch. And I think was, for me, very stressful is, I'm the first person in, from my mother's children that, went to college, basically kind of doing what they're supposed to do. So, I have my siblings, I mean, my brother is in and out of jail. And it's not even his fault. It's not necessarily his fault. He was placed in a group home as a child, so, after my mom died, we were separated. He was placed in a group home, so the streets raised him. So he didn't have any guidance. So I can't fault him and say he's in and out of jail. He raised himself. But, at some point, I try to tell him that, you're responsible for you. You can't, continue to let your past hold you down. My sisters, my other sister, she's been through a lot of things herself. She's, not ready to heal. And by that, she just continues a cycle, I have an older sister who, it's just, we've all been through different things, but you know, they don't want to heal. They don't choose to get the proper therapy and the things that they need to help them heal. So it's like, you know, when they have children, you know, my fear, you know, is I never want my nieces or nephews to go into foster care. I think my anxiety comes from trying to be the mother for my siblings that they didn't have. Trying to be the protector that we didn't have. Trying to be somebody. You know, I promised my mama that I would make sure we make it. I promised that I would take care of them. And it's just like, it's hard because I'm only one person. And it's like, oftentimes I feel like I'm depressed because, you know, it's a lonely place. Okay, so I had to pause, get it together, come back. Yo, I didn't want the video to go down that way, but you know, yeah, we weren't gonna go down that route. That was very emotional. But it's just, it's a lonely place in a sense of, you know, trying to be the one that holds the family together. To be the mediator, to be the person that's like, you know, pushes them to, you know, be the best version of themselves. Like, they all have children, right? And I'm like, you know, so you're gonna repeat the cycle? You know, what are you gonna have to offer your kids? If you die today or tomorrow, what are you leaving your kids? So in my mind, when they have kids, those are my kids. So I have to plan for it. Not only do I have one kid, I have 7 kids, right? I have their kids plus my kid. So to me, that is very stressful. And I know that's not my responsibility. I know, you know, all of those things. But at the end of the day, that's my blood. You know, and if you know me and you know if you're my blood, my family, my friends, you know that I'm a ride for you to the end. And it's just, you know, it's not those kids' fault that, you know, those things happen or that their parents are what they are. So it's just, you know, I've tasked myself with being the Oprah of the family, in the sense of being the one that creates that generational wealth. I know that everyone goes through things, and I know that, you know, your mental health is very important. I know that, you know, we don't like to admit it because sometimes it may seem like it's a sign of weakness or failure, but it's not. It's natural. You know, you're going to have ups and downs in your life. You're going to have, you know, good days. You're going to have bad days. But it's important that you are aware of it. And, you know, if you can't handle it, it's important that you seek help and that you seek therapy. And, you know, sometimes talking to someone that you can trust. You know, sometimes just venting, you know, can definitely help alleviate a lot of the stress, alleviate, you know, a lot of the, you know, pain or confusion that you may feel. You know, and depression is real. Anxiety is real. You know, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just, you know, get help. Get help. I mean, I'm not perfect. You know, I know this is a little different because most people don't talk about these things, but I'm not perfect and I go through a lot of things. I'm a person, you know, that tend to suffer privately. I keep things bottled up. I keep them in. I don't say anything. I smile, and you may think everything is okay. You may think things are peaches and cream. Oh, she got a Benz truck. She got this, but you don't know inside she's battling with different things. She's battling with depression. She's battling with anxiety. And I thought those things would bring me happiness, and they don't. They don't. I could care two flying beeps about a Benz truck. I really can. I thought that, oh, getting my, doing all these different things would bring me happiness. I thought having a certain amount of money in my bank would bring me happiness. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I had to look down and see that I was covering up, my true issues with materialistic items, and thinking that those things would solve those issues or fill those holes, when it doesn't. What I learned is, I am in control of my own happiness. I cannot put that on anybody else. I cannot depend on anyone else to make me happy but me. I cannot depend on a man in a relationship. And I would say 60% of the time, that's what I would do. When I was down and depressed, I would look towards my boyfriend or, whoever I was dating at the time to help. And then I would get upset when it wasn't, making me happy or giving me that satisfaction that I thought I need. And that's not their responsibility. That's probably why I'm single now, because, it caused a lot of confusion. I think I seen it on, I don't know if it was a Red Table Talk or if it was an interview Will Smith did. I think it was an interview he did. One of the very first interviews he put on Instagram, when he was saying, when he got married, he thought it was his responsibility to keep Jada happy. But he realized it's not. It's her responsibility to make her happy. And it's his responsibility to make himself happy. And I feel like that's me. I cannot put that on anybody else. And a lot of my anxiety comes from things that I'm getting all worked up over that I can't control. I can't control that. And I have to be okay with letting go of control. I have to know that, if I believe in God, which I do, I can't have faith in stress. I can't be worried and say, oh, I have faith in God. I can't say, oh, he's leading my life and I'm trying to control it. Those don't go together. I have to truly stay still. Stay still. Stay in my stay firm and let him do what he's supposed to do. And have true faith. And don't stress. You cannot have faith and be stressed. It doesn't go together. You can't say, I trust you, God, but, on the other side, I'm a little worried, so let me just kind of stress out a little bit. That don't go together. It's either you trust him or you don't. It's either you all in or you not. So, it's important for you to, figure out what makes you happy. So what I did is I have this planner that my sister gave me. And in this planner, I wrote down the things that I wanted to do. I wrote down the things that made me happy. I wrote down the things that I can control in a way. Meaning, not saying the whole God control thing, but just, if it's out of my, it's no stress. It's, if it's out of my control, it's out of my control. Right? I wrote down things that brings me joy, things that I can do for me. I learned that life is too short. Life is too short to be anything other than who you are. And that's what these videos are about. I know some people may think, oh my gosh, she being too personal. Why is she telling her business? Because what makes me happy is helping others. What makes me happy is sharing my story that I went through, so that I just didn't go through that in vain. Share my story so that it may touch somebody else to help them get through what they're going through. That's what makes me happy. because I refuse to believe, I refuse with all my heart to believe that God put me through all of the things that I've been through to suffer in vain. I truly believe that I had to go through the fire and walk through those, pitfalls and, all of those happen because for a purpose. I truly believe that my story is going to heal someone else. It's going to help someone else get through it. It's going to be that breakthrough for them. So what I want to do is tell my story and help inspire others. That's what makes me happy. I want my life to mean something. And I think the most thing that brought me anxiety was trying to be two different people. I was being two different people. I was being Michelle and Shelly. Okay? I was being those two. I was being, one way with, my adopted family and, holding a lot of stuff in and, to all of the people who knew them, I was just being one way, right? Like my Facebook, it would have, it's crazy. I don't even know how to explain it, but I literally was being two different people. And then when I would talk to my biological family, then it was like a switch on, now I'm Shelly, now I'm this person. Now I'm, now I don't even know how to explain to y'all what I was doing. I don't even know how I did that. But I was being two different people. I was ashamed, and I don't even know why I was ashamed. I mean, that stuff happens every day, but I was ashamed to say I was adopted. I was ashamed to say, that I was homeless, that we grew up in a shelter, that my birth mother was addicted to drugs, that I didn't know who my biological father was. I was ashamed of those things. I was ashamed that I was in foster care. I was ashamed. And now that I'm looking and thinking about it, it's like, why? Why? That just shows that you are a true warrior. That just shows your strength. That just shows your ability to, persevere, to push through. All of those things is who you are. And if they don't like it, the hell with them. Period. Pooh. So, with my whole rant, but I don't really think it was a rant, but whatever. But with this whole video, I hope you guys got the underlying message is, be true to yourself. Mental health is important. We all deal with different types, forms of depression, anxiety, there's tons of other things. But the main two things is depression and anxiety. And it's okay if you're depressed, but seek help. If you don't feel comfortable going to a therapist, or maybe you can't afford it, or whatever the case may be, find a church member, find a pastor, find an elder, find somebody that you trust to just talk to. And be who you are. Be true to yourself. Live your truth. My name is Michelle Lee Henderson. I am a product of foster care. I am a product of adoption. I suffer from depression and anxiety. However, I am also a survivor. I am also a college graduate with a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology. I am a mother. I am a sister. I am loving. I am kind. I am who I say I am. Thanks, guys. I'm just a girl trying to pave a way.